This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.
Hello everyone, I am Puja. I have secured rank 62 in recently released UPSC CSE 2021 results. I have been a resident of Andhra Pradesh, and I was grown up in a small locality called Rajampet, and my schooling has been also in the same region where I have studied in a regional school. And after that, after my 10th class, I have focused on JEE preparation, and thereby I ended up securing a seat in NIT Karnataka, where I have completed my BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering. My father my father is a village development officer, and he currently was promoted as extension officer in rural development, and my mother is a housewife, and I have a sibling who is a research person, and he wants to work in quantum physics. I want to talk about why I came into UPSC and what motivated me. So my father has been a person who was interested in these competitive exams and was interested in civil services. So he has appeared for state public services, and he was posted as a rural development officer. As a child, I have grown up seeing him how he's being utilized, how he's being helpful and making change in lives of many rural people. So this actually motivated me to work close with public, and this also actually encouraged me to be close to public and see real time change in the lives of the people. And because during my schooling, I have been very interested in appearing for competitive exams, because in 8th class I have appeared for an exam called National Talent Search Examination, from which I was very motivated to be picking a challenging and ambitious career. So for all these factors, I found UPSC was the best career option for me. So hence I have decided very early in my childhood itself that I have to pursue UPSC. So then during I have still opted for BTech in Electronics and Communication, because I wanted to have a proper job backup and to properly technically educated, to have a backup in case UPSC doesn't work. I think this should also be one of the criteria for people who are choosing career options, because these competitive exams make it unpredictable, and we have to be having a plan B also. What if the things don't work? So that was my engineering for me, and after so hence I have used all my capabilities, and I have done best of my possibility in my engineering. So as I completed my graduation in 2019, I have started my preparation for UPSC, and so I have allotted 1 year for my preparation. So I wanted to prepare through 2019 and give my attempt in 2020. Thereby my strategy for preparation has started. I would like to very much share how the preparation strategy went for my first attempt. So I would like to first talk about my prelim strategy. So for prelims, it is very important to have limited resources, and to have the resources in more revisions, so that we can be better retaining and recollecting this on the day of the exam. So this was my strategy too. Like my friends and my mentors have told me to keep my resources limited. So my strategy was to finish the prelims at least first reading in first few months of my preparation, and give a revision reading in the second reading, and in the third reading I had to correlate my revision along with the series. So this was the strategy, so that I could have good three readings of my whatever I had to do. And also by doing the test series, I also did few areas which I needed to do more than 3 times, and which needed more emphasis for the prelims scenario. So this was the basic idea, where I allotted the time and how I distributed the time and resources for prelims. So this is one of the important things we need to keep in head, that resources should be very limited. So here at AKS, I have seen that they have been giving this NCRTs and also their concise material. So I believe that is a very nice initiative and a very nice strategy, and it is a good push for the children who are coming here, because it does not confuse the brains that with multiplicity of the information, or it does not make us go obsessed over multiple resources. It will help keep the resources limited and also lets us have the proper time in which we can go over the same resources over multiple times. And regarding test series, what I have done was I have periodically written like a few test series in the beginning of the preparation, where I was more focused on learning than writing the test. So, but if people wants to write the test series early in their stage of preparation, they can do that also. But what I did was like last 3 months or 4 months of my preparation, I completely packed them with the test, where I had assigned my reading timetables with the test series timetable, so that I can complete the targets according to the test and full length sections and revisions, so that whatever revision I needed to do, it can be done to the precise and sectional wise, and that helped me improving accuracy. Similarly, AKS people are giving test series which are very well planned. They are also very section wise and full length wise and revision test wise. So by having this kind of model, will let the student understand the concepts first, understand the errors, correct the errors, revise the areas which are, the person is weak in, and actually show good results at the end of the day. So this is how prelim strategy can be made to the best use to anyone. For mains, we need to focus firstly on the content. People usually ask me when, in the beginning of the preparation, should we be focusing on prelims, should we be focusing on mains? What I believe is prelims and mains are not different, they are very much conjoined and there is a lot of overlap. So my strategy was to keep everything intact in the beginning months of my preparation. So my initial months was to gather data, to understand the concepts, to try to apply the concepts, to recall the concepts. So this was the strategy in the beginning few months. In the later months, when the prelims is coming closer, we may have to be focusing more on remembering specific points, like one of the examples, if we are doing history and we know Akbar has built Ibadat Khana, that much is enough. When we have done first reading, now we also would need where he has built it, what was the purpose of it, and were atheists were allowed, were all religion peoples were allowed. So these kind of particular things were also required for prelims. So but see, for the same point, if you have to talk about means, the same thing, Akbar and Ibadat Khana remained same, but we may not need the city where it was built, but rather than social, economic, religious context of the event are required. So this is just an example. Similarly, in the polity and economics, specifics matter in the prelims, and the detailed analysis and application and drawing examples from multiple dimensions is what matters in mains. So this is where what comes to the mains and prelims distinction. So coming to the mains, clear analysis of the writing the papers, I would like to go paper by paper. First, I would like to talk about essays about two things. One is having a clarity of thought and the clarity of flow. So this is something which is unique to which is specific to every person, and it depends on the person's style and person's way of thinking, but it can be always altered to the best benefit of us, so that we can actually make examiner feel comfortable, examiner feel engaged with our essay throughout the process. So for attaining this amount of flow, we need practice, and for this again we need test series and we need to keep practicing. And for essay, I believe we need definitely someone who can mentor us personally, because essay is something where we need to know how the evaluator has been feeling throughout the process. So this is the part for flow and content flow for the essay. When it comes to the content part of the essay, there are few areas. Firstly, introduction. When it comes to introduction, have few things in mind, like you may use an anecdote, you may use a moving story, or you may use any past event example, or you may use any data. For example, there was an essay which says that a stitching time saves 9. So I wanted to make a very impactful introduction. So I brought a climate change example like ozone hole, where the world leaders have moved early and helped ozone healing. So these are the historical events or anecdotes which can be make an impactful beginning in the essay. It is also very helpful if you can bring an emotional element like a crisis, war, this kind of elements in the beginning, so it shows the depth of your understanding and it shows your empathetic side to the evaluator. Apart from this, regarding value addition to the essay, we need good understanding or good data points about various social aspects. For this, I have used the same data I have used for social issues like women, education, health, nutrition and all. These are the same data which I can be using and drawing examples into the essay. And apart from this, I used to have a list of 20 to 30 quotes, 20 to 30 poems and all. Don't have more than this because it will be very difficult to recall them. I used to have same list of poems and quotes, and before every essay test I am writing, I will be spending 1 hour or 1.5 hours on just that list of poems and quotes, and I will be reading it over and over for that period. And in the essay I'll try to think for this context which poem can be related, which quote can be related. So this is what exercise you can do. And finally, regarding the conclusion, we can build already on the conclusion by generalistic conclusions or by a few slokas or any recitals. We can use that as conclusion. So this is how essay can go. And by using one last thing which makes your essays refreshing is quotes, books and movies. The books and movies part we may feel are very dynamic and may not be approving, but we can be smart enough, we can be picking non-controversial message based movies which will be relatable to the evaluator also, and use them properly in the proper context so that it looks more dynamic nature to the essay. Similarly, this also makes the evaluator feel that we have been of a calm nature, that we could recall a movie or book during the exam. So this is what works for essay. Second thing I would want to talk about is GS1. For GS1, it is again multiple parts: history, geography and social issues. For history, again it is world history, modern history and art and culture. For world history, one thing I would like to say is keep your resources limited, like single. Whatever the institute notes or whatever the academy notes you already have, stick it to itself and either complete it before prelims or even after prelims. Give it 2 or 3 readings, it would be enough, because world history questions are usually generic and we don't need deep and specific points for that. So world history can be covered. And for modern history and art and culture, it is very nice to know all the prelims things what we knew during prelims for mains, because the questions will be very generic, so the questions will be adding value only when we add content to it. For example, there was a question on Bhakti literature. So we could have written a very generalistic question like Bhakti literature was this, Bhakti literature helped in that. But if you bring properly examples like Shankaracharya's commentaries on Brahma Sutras, Deen Dayal, Dadu Dayal Ki Bani, Kabir Ki Doha. So by bringing specific things which we remembered for prelims will enrich our answer. And also work on structure for both history and art and culture, where you have to bring multi-dimensional, keep the body of a concise size, and also and address the all aspects of the question and main demand of the question. So do this either by practicing the questions, practicing a test series, or looking at the toppers notes to understand how the structure should go. And for geography, when it comes, geography I would talk about in 2 areas. One area is regular, whatever we have covered in NCRTs already, like monsoons, oceanology, soils and all. This will be as relevant as it wouldn't be equally relevant as it was for prelims, it would be different. We need to know the basic concepts and how it works, and we need to know the current affairs based relevance for that. For example, if we are talking about monsoon in a question, whatever we have in the prelims like the branches of the monsoon, the retrieval of the monsoon, these wouldn't be sufficient. We would also be required to give the IPCC recent studies on monsoon, how jet streams affect monsoons. This kind of unique points need to be addressed in geography. And when it comes to the second aspect of the geography, that is economic geography, from which there will be very specific questions like distribution of mineral resources, distribution of solar, distribution of wind. For this, I don't see any shortcut or I don't see any thing we have to do rather than working a little bit of hard and spending decent amount of time in this area. I had worked in this area by having few sources and having my own short notes up from this. So I think this will by having a very neat and good data points in this area will actually make evaluator feel that you have really worked hard in this region and will fetch you marks. When it comes to social issues, make a static notes based on whatever notes you have or whatever book you have been referring. And also there is Ncrt book on Indian society. So using this, have a static notes. But for society, we need a lot of factual data, like how many women are being susceptible to domestic violence, how much alcohol addiction is there. So this kind of data and is very important. For this, keep reading monthlies or keep reading current affairs to keep your answers value added and enriched. So this is my strategy for GS1. And when it comes to GS2, this is polity and governance. For polity, what I did was I did Lakshmikant. Lakshmikant wasn't done in the same manner for the prelims. There can be lot of exclusions. There you can omit big chunks of Lakshmikant. Focus on mainly important areas like judiciary, parliament, elections, fundamental rights. Have a good understanding of them. Understand all the dimensions of them. And second thing is, for this, as I wasn't ready with my own notes, I have relied on a topper's notes. And from these notes, I have understood how the structuring can be done, how pictorial representation of the data can be done. For example, in judiciary, for judicial vacancies and judicial pendency, bringing only this year data will be good, but bringing also the data of 3 years ago and representing it in a bar graph like 30% to 45%, there was an improvement. By putting it in a graphical format, the answer becomes more analytical and also it looks better because of the picture involved in it. So this was what worked for me in the polity. And in the governance region, have a good understanding about all the schemes in the place and what is good governance, and also obtain the resources from ethics also, where we discuss about social audit, citizen charter and all. So have a decent understanding. And for me, I have used toppers notes like 95th ranker toppers notes, and also I used monthlies for governance, from where I could use unique points like tulip, where the youth is being employed in urban local bodies. So whatever the data you have been already doing, you must have done before prelims, for prelims, try to remember the governance aspects and put them in a place, so that will work for governance. So that is my strategy for paper 2, GS2. When it comes to GS3, again GS3, I would want to keep three things in mind. First thing is, keep the resources very limited and stick to the syllabus and PYQs. PYQs and syllabus should be your guiding point for completing GS3, because GS3 it has wide range, and if you don't put limits on where you are reading and what sources you are covering, it may go beyond the range and your time will be exhausted. Second thing is have lot of data in hand, and have lot of examples in hand, and have good understanding about proper current affairs and what are the developments being happened. Third thing, very important for me in GS3, which costed me, I would like to say, is stay calm in the exam, because GS3 will ask very specific questions. Like in a year 2018, there was a question on horticulture. So and in my year there was question on S400 missiles, and there was a question on blue LEDs. So there will be very specific questions. It is not required that you know the answer. It is required that you can recollect everything associated with the answers. So S400 missiles, if you are talking, try to bring all the features of the S400, how it is useful. Like even if you don't know any features of the S400, you can talk at least a little bit on how it is in India and Russian partnership. So at least bring the associated data, even if you don't know the specific data, so that you can, and be calm throughout the process and give the attempt to the question rather than discarding the question. So this helps in tackling GS3 when it comes unpredictable. So finally, in the fourth paper of GS4, I would like to say ethics is again two-folded. One is maintenance of time. threefold actually. One is having static, two is value addition, three is maintenance of time. Static you can do from any resource being available in the market, or you can make your own notes based on the standard reference books. And static wouldn't be the much of a task, it can be completed in smaller amount of time. The second part is value addition. It is very important. Have as ample examples as possible. If you are reading about integrity, or if you are reading about compassion, have examples which are handy in head and or which are emotional. Like there was a girl named Santoshi who was not given Aadhaar benefits because of PDS benefits because of lack of Aadhaar. So use these examples, like how compassion is also required for civil servant. Or uh, or the other aspect is extract examples from an online pages or Instagram pages. I used a page called The Better India. It or any resource, like be hungry for examples. Try to get examples from anywhere possible, so that your answers can be enriched. Last part is time management. Ethics always has problem with time management because it is different pattern and we won't be having good practice. So devise a pattern which is more convenient for you. Few people start with 10 markers, few people start with 20 markers. But what I used to do was I used to go and write 2 case studies, then come to few 10 markers, then again write few case studies. Like I used to go here and there so that I don't compromise the quality of either of them. That was my strategy. Work on strategy which works for you and which makes the best optimum use of time. And one more thing about case studies is try to always bring some legislation or government scheme or some real life example, like Prevention of Corruption Act, Child Labor Act or something, to make your case studies look not only general but also very specific and as you have actually understood the question. So this was regarding GS papers. And regarding my optional paper, I would like to talk a few points regarding how I made the difference between 212 marks in my first attempt to 283 marks in my second attempt. So what was required for anthropology is the almost same as GS, that we need again a limited resources. We need to confine to whatever resource we have. We have to trust the resource. So regarding this, I have had a basic source, and wherever I felt my basic source was lacking in content, I used to go to some other notes and have make it 2 or 3 pages notes out of it and add to it. And apart from this, there are few areas in anthropology like physical anthropology which can get very technical, and this resources like PNAT which are very big and gets exhausting to complete entire thing in a stretch. So when you read such as technical aspects of the subject, it is better to have our own short notes and focus on the areas which can be remembered, which can be recollected, and which can be applied in the paper. So have such kind of examples and case studies. And by having all these things, one more thing for people who are preparing from now to the coming mains and have no notes of your own, it's okay, you can always rely on the toppers notes. What I also did was I relied on various toppers notes like Varnit Negi, Sachin Gupta and Mandar Patki sirs. And by using these notes you can be helpful. And one more thing we need to do apart from resources management, retaining revisions, is diagrams. In physical anthropology, diagrams will be inevitable, but the diagrams of other areas are also can be, we should make diagrams out of them. Like whenever there is a talking about hierarchy, make a vertical diagram, or when there is a talking about various branches of something, make a horizontal diagram. So try to be innovative in diagrams. For example, there was a question on how bipedalism helped humans. So I was giving various examples, but I had to bring a diagram. So I made a diagram where bipedalism will be less sun exposure than four-leg walking human, where there is a higher area for sun exposure. See, this you don't need to practice beforehand, but be spontaneous in few areas where you can use diagrams. And for this, Kirti Chakuri ma'am's notes for diagrams is also very good. You can use that. And for language papers, for English, you can use already existing question papers, and there are many solutions already available online. You can check them and practice them and be ready for your language paper. And for your local language paper, for Telugu medium, for English medium students who have lost touch with the Telugu writing and Telugu reading, try to be in touch with the regional newspaper, try to write now and then in Telugu or in your own language, so that you can get handy on it. And one more thing regarding this is you don't really need to spend lot of time in this language papers. Rather, use this language papers as a recreation or a break from your monotonous preparation. So this is the entire strategy for mains preparation. So the next part of mains preparation is test series. So the test series also play key role in mains, where we have to be very disciplined between prelims and mains, where we have to be writing our tests in periodic intervals. So we evaluate and we understand where our structure is going wrong, why we can't meet the demand of the question. So regarding this, subscribing for a test series, we have to be considering few criteria. Like if you are already good with answer writing, and if you are having good skills with answer writing, it is okay to subscribe for any test series, and you can be getting feedback. But if you are a beginner for writing answers, and if you don't know what is wrong with your answers, rather prefer personalized guidance, and where a mentor can be there for you, where you can go to the person, like rather than online, where you can go to the person, discuss with the person why your answer was bad, how your answer can be better. Even here at AKS, they have launched a mains test series, and I have seen that they have been giving personalized mentorship for people who are staying in our state. They need not be discouraged that they can be going to Delhi and be writing the test series. It will be very useful if you have personalized mentoring, if this is your beginning stage and you can't figure out your problem, so that you can understand the particular minor aspects of our answers. So I was also one of the beneficiaries when I also had my mentors, my helpers, who told that small changes needed to be done for answer writing betterment. So yeah, this is being provided here at AKS. And final stage of the preparation was mock interviews, and which make us prepared for the final interview. So mock interviews are very important for any interview preparation, because that is where first time we evaluate our personality. We never know how we talk, we never know if we are polite enough, if we are multidimensional enough. So all these things will be coming to know only once we give mock interviews. It is not required that you have to give all the mock interviews. It is okay even if we give 4 or 5 mock interviews, where we get quality and valuable feedback. So choose your mock interviews wisely. I have given my mock interviews twice here at AKS. Once was in my first attempt and second attempt. There are particular few things which I liked about AKS mock interview style and the kind of feedback which was given. First, the style of the mock interview at AKS, where the questions were asked and the discussion was done in a real time. Like AKS had both the full panel mock interview and also one-to-one discussion based. The one-to-one discussion based really helps us to understand how we are thinking, how we could have thought. Like in one of my interviews, the member has asked a tricky question where I walked into a trap, and he immediately told that was a trick question, you shouldn't have walked into that trap. So this kind of things can be understood by having a personalized discussion based mock. And when it comes to feedback, the feedback should be something correctable. It shouldn't be something on very trivial aspects which are not correctable. So even AKS was helpful in that areas. It helped me with the points which were very relevant and which can be improved. And and one more thing which is very important is regional importance. Because for us, when we go to mock interview, there will be high frequency of questions which will be asked about the region, district and the village. I have understood new dimensions to think about Andhra Pradesh, new dimensions to think about my own home city and the region surrounding home city. So by having people on the board who are familiar with the regionality, will ask unique questions and will also makes us think and prepare in unique directions. There have been the areas which weren't prepared by myself in the first interview, and I had to make changes even in my second interview because of this feedback. So yeah, I liked this kind of style of interview, and I would highly recommend AKS mock interview. One more thing regarding this entire process of preparation, as we have been talking again and again, is limited resources. So in the process of the limited resources, everyone asks the question, is NCRT sufficient and how much of NCRT is to be done? myself haven't done meticulously on NCRTs, but few areas where NCRTs is very much required, I have given ample importance. Like before starting polity and economy, I have done a good reading of them, because being from engineering background, we need a clear analysis of what happens to before actually get into the zone. So polity and economics, we need a background of NCRT studying, and for geography, NCRT is like the must books. So this like there will be a lot of confusions how much of NCRT is to be read, covered, and how much of this to be kept as basic source. So again here at AKS they have an Ncrt Strategizer, where they have pointed out how much of NCRT is to be done, and how much of which areas to be focused, and the areas of high marks and all. So this kind of strategizer, if can be used, it will be very useful if to strategize NCRTs, where it is not required we can actually omit. Similarly, in the same book there is prep strategy, prep guide, where they have been made the entire strategy for the prelims, like the eligibility, qualities, and what are the criteria required. And also the prelims entire result was made into checklist based of the topics were classified based on checklist. It is very important. It is very important for anyone to have a good understanding of syllabus, like which areas we are covering, which areas we are not covering. Like if we are reading economics, and if we find that some areas regarding insurance are not exciting enough or not easy to remember, we may omit them. But having such a kind of thing where you can check yourself against each topic makes yourself accountable. Like you feel like this part is not covered, I have to cover it. So this is also very good regarding the prep tracker. And one more thing about the resources here I want to talk specifically, which was very much useful to me, was quick revision material. I have to say that after my first interview preparation, I had a very little time before I appear for prelims. It was barely 11, 12 days. So it was a big task to complete polity, economic, history, and I don't think it would be feasible to go after all the sources and complete it. So this quick revision material was good for two reasons. It is comprehensive and it is crisp. It is comprehensive, that it is not leaving any major parts. It is covering all the good and required aspects, and it is also crisp. It is eliminating the areas which are not required and which are most required for revision. On the revision day, you will be only requiring few areas to be fresh in the head. So this quick revision material will be useful just before prelims, and people who, and it is also like generic. It is not like new source. Like if we have studied in entirely new source, and this revision material may not be looking like it is entirely new. So that is also one of the benefits of it. And even in the course, the good thing that the institute people are doing is they are having a standardized books, like to not confuse the candidates with multiplicity of the resources, and to not not put the burden on the students to go to the market and find what book to take. So as part of the course, they have been giving NCRTs and standard books, so that as we have told, limited resources and confined resources is good. So that is what is being fulfilled through this initiative. The second side of the preparation is being motivated and being consistent throughout the preparation. So being motivated and consistent, again I would like to talk is two ways. One is just casual losing of demotivation because of procrastination, because of really not feeling like to study. So in this kind of for this kind of problems, what I would say is it's okay to have break in the UPSC preparation, because it is a long process. We need break to let our brain breathe a little, but make yourself feel that after this break I'm gonna give my best for 1 week or something. So even if you feel like, you won't be having the guilt after the break, you will be rather having the challenge to complete. That is what I would used to do. If I had taken 2 days or 3 days break, I used to keep a target of writing a test 4 or 5 days down the lane. So I used to study very good for next 5 days and write the test. So this sense of accomplishment, sense of improvement will be coming by keeping this test when you are demotivated. When it comes to second kind of demotivation, when we are seeing there are a lot of failures, when our marks are not improving, when we are feeling the things are not being remembered, we just need to remember these things. One is we have to believe in ourselves that this can be done. Like this can be done. Many people who has faced the worst odds have done it. So this can be done by us also. And one more thing is, as we have been, as long as we have been honest with ourselves, as long as we have been understanding what we are doing wrong, when we understand what we do wrong, we have to be honest with ourselves and correct our path. So by doing this kind of things, we can actually change our trajectory and make the difference. And one more important part when we are having this consistent lows is, have your people close to you, be it friends or be it parents, relatives, or be it your mentor, be it your institute people. Have them close to you. These people are the people who know our strengths, who know what we have done, who know what work we are capable to do. So these are the people who will push us. Particularly, many institutes call people after the result who are successful and ask and invite them for felicitation. AKS is the one institute who called me when I was a failure. Like after my first attempt, I got a call from AKS the next day itself, and they have allotted like 20 minutes of a call for me, and they reminded me of my strengths, like, Puja, you were good, like we have understood based on your personality test and based on your course of finishing, coming to interview until first attempt and all. Like they reminded myself of my strengths, and which helped me keep my spirits up. And since that day, they have been helping me, like as I have told, after interview, the quick revision material was provided to retain my confidence to appear for prelims. And similarly, they have been in touch throughout the process. So this is what will be beneficial for all the people in the preparation. This is a collective effort, UPSC is. So keep your people close, and when you go to an institution like, which is very personalized like AKS, even for test series, they will know where you have gone wrong, they will know where you can improve. So keep in close touch with them, trust the institute, trust the mentor, trust the friends, trust the resources. That will actually give a very huge advantage over others. And regarding people who are saying, is coaching required and what are the criteria we need to consider for coaching, one thing I would say is, coaching is may not be mandatory if we have enough consistency, motivation and discipline for ourselves. But this is the biggest difficulty we will be having in UPSC preparation. For me, what I feel coaching is important for is, for people who had no background of these areas, polity, economic, geography and all, or people who have forgotten or who cannot reach to the depths of it. Coaching is something which gives us background, which makes us understand tricky areas. Second thing is, rather than very institutionalized coachings, when you have a personalized coaching, no, there will be more one-to-one personalized based experience, and particular weak points of us can be addressed. Third thing is discipline. Coaching helps in discipline. This is what I have been telling since much before my selection, that because like once we know that this month polity will be finishing in the coaching institute, we will be forcing ourselves to finish Lakshmikant in that area, in that month period. So as coaching runs, we want to run. So coaching keeps the discipline. And regarding the what criteria you need to do consider for coaching, first thing is proximity. We don't need to sacrifice the food or culture or environment just because we feel that there are better institutions farther or something. I have been seeing there are amazing resources, there are amazing structuring of the test series and amazing institutionalized mechanisms here itself. So it is not required we need to go to Delhi or some place far away for getting coaching. So we can be in our own comfort, we can be in close to home, and we can do coaching. Second thing is, again, regarding personalized mentoring, people who feel that people who feel clueless, or people who feel don't know where to start, very beginners, I think it will be very helpful for having a personalized mentoring, because that is the place where you will be discovering your strengths and also discovering your weaknesses, and provides enough scope to improve. And this is what I have been seeing. These institutes will also give you the areas of improvement where specifically you can improve. So yeah, these factors should be considered, like how personalized it is going to be, like how many doubts of mine can be solved, how are the test series, how are the resources being provided, how close is it to my convenience and comfort. So all these factors should be considered for picking a coaching institute. And for the beginners who wants to come to UPSC, a few things I would like to say. Choose your career rationally. Like if you want to be investing your entire graduation time also into UPSC, you may pick unique courses like BA in economics and honors and all. But if you also want to, this is what I have done. The second option, I also wanted to have a job backup. Like I didn't want to be having clueless if UPSC doesn't turn out to be good. So because independence is required, so also have a job backup. Do some graduation or some course which makes you fetch a good job despite not having UPSC. And throughout the process, if people who are not doing UPSC, people who are not taking this UPSC related subjects and going technical or medical sides, what I would suggest is give you 100% to your graduation subject. That is how, where we find our dedication and where we find our true strength in building on some new area also. Second thing is keep always in touch with current affairs by newspaper reading or by watching some YouTube videos. Keep in constant touch with current affairs, because once you start the preparation after your graduation, you will be feeling you will not be feeling the cluelessness. You will be aware of almost the entire background of UPSC. So these two are the tips for the beginners. And what are suggestions is, believe in yourself. This is very possible thing. And one more thing is, UPSC is not as hectic and not as straining as it seems. It also has lot of fun aspects. We will be enjoying the kind of things we are reading. So yeah, I find UPSC is a very good venture to come into. So yeah, I wish all the good luck for the beginners who want to take this area. So my last words for all the people who are watching this video is, UPSC is a very good idea. The people who have made this decision, you have come already a big step taking this challenging decision. And second thing is, have belief in yourself, in your mentors, or if you are taking any coaching in your institutions, your resources. Have trust in them. By not having trust, we usually go for others. We usually duplicate our resources, which will waste our time, waste our energy. So have trust in this. And 3, be honest with yourself through test series. Be as practical as possible in evaluating yourself. Last, try to be as consistent as possible. And by doing all of this, I think and I hope all of you will achieve great success and very great heights in all of your career paths. All the very best to you.
This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.